Welcome to Crafting the Case, where three women dive deep into chilling true crime cases, eerie mysteries, and spooky tales, all while crafting and creating. Join us as we weave together suspense, storytelling, and a touch of creativity in every episode. Find us on your favorite social media platforms and wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey everyone, it's Crafting the Case, episode 6, coming in hot. Welcome. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sandy.
Ashley.
Tara.
And we're so excited to be presenting to you episode 6 today, because it's kind of under a shrouded thing of stuff we don't know, because I don't know anything about what you're doing.
I don't know what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
We didn't even know if we were going to be here tonight.
No, I only just found out that I would get home in time, so here we are.
That's the beauty of our podcast. Like we've said it many times, one and done.
Made it to the dollar store with 5 minutes to spare.
I made it here a half an hour late, barely, because I was running out of gas and my car was like making crazy noises and I had to detour to stop for gas, so I almost did not make it.
Oh, yay.
Well, thank you for being here.
Yay. It's gonna be good.
Good to be here.
It's gonna be good. It's funny because when the girls come over, we're literally like, don't talk to each other. Save it for the podcast. Like any funny things that you've been thinking of saying to somebody, save it. Save it for the pod.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a beautiful weekend here in Halifax. Ashley was away this weekend,
I was
but
in Moncton.
yes, another beautiful maritime
It rained
province.
all day there today.
No.
You know what? I was talking to my mom. It's raining in Cape Breton too, so I'm gonna be so sad if it's gonna be raining here in Halifax because
it's supposed to rain this week.
Oh, it was so nice, just like being outside yesterday. Not really doing much outside, but like just bopping around in the sunshine was lovely.
The sun on your skin is so nice.
So magical.
Vitamin D.
So magical. Before we get into explaining things, guys, I have a little gift for the both of you.
What?
I know.
Stop.
So yesterday when I was out and about, I was thinking about you girls,
Aww.
as I always am, and I was thinking, well, what does every great detective need?
Yes.
A notebook.
Oh.
But we're not just great detectives. We're also full-time, oh my god, no, we're full-time workers. We have jobs. But part-time crafters.
Oh my god.
So you'll see here, I
Bedazzled.
cricketed and bedazzled crafting the case notebooks for all of us. Just in my spare time, which I don't have much of. So there's 3 to choose from. So I'm just going to pause this so the girls we'll take a picture and we'll put it in. One sec. Okay, we're back. We've just discussed how amazing I am, and Sheila had a little break. She came up to say hello. But I think we do need little notebooks. Like, we gotta start riding around like Veronica Marsing style.
Yes.
Do you guys know did you guys watch Veronica Mars when it was on?
No.
Oh, well.
I didn't either, but maybe I should.
Oh my god, I
Get some tips
applied.
from her.
Yeah, I applied for a private detective license, but they wouldn't give it to me. Devin always says I'm too conspicuous. I have to say it in my head because I usually say inconspicuous, but he thinks I'm the opposite to that.
Okay.
Like,
You can't be conspicuous.
I would be the loudest person in the room.
Right,
Like,
yes.
if somebody was trying to be chill, like, oh, did my husband have an affair with the secretary? I'd be like, dude, you know, like trying to sneak around, but also super loud. So anyway, but I still
Like
feel
the Kool-Aid man, you're busting through the wall.
trying to get a picture. Trying to get a picture out of my window.
We need the Kool-Aid
Hanging
man
out
for the
yes.
Instagram post this week.
Anyway, I still think every detective needs a good notebook. Or maybe, you know, if you're going through stuff, you can write your poems in there too. Depends on how it's a journal. So you can write down your clues or your feelings. Clues or feelings. So
I love it. Thank you, Sandy.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
I have one other thing also. Just wanting to, these bad boys, the little tiny little cute clay pieces from last week.
Yes, how'd they go?
They did pretty good, but I will say it took a little while for them to dry.
Yeah.
So it took like a couple days for them to fully dry, but these are here for you to take home today. So awesome. Yay! Okay, so that's all I have. Before, we still have the after show later, but and no corrections corner last week because my episode was perfect.
Yeah.
Except we against 1 for heretic.
No, I'm not going there.
Devin.
Devin, how do you pronounce the word heretic? Is it heretic or heretic?
Heretic.
Thank you.
He's your boyfriend.
He's your
obviously gonna pick
boyfriend.
you.
Devin, are you my boyfriend?
Sometimes.
So right now might not be one of those times.
It
You
is,
don't know. You never
obviously.
know. Okay, so
No,
you
Corrections
guys-
Corner, I didn't do Corrections Corner. I was so busy this weekend, but maybe I feel like we're going to have a big Corrections Corner for this episode.
I doubt it. Tara, you have a
no.
great track record.
There's a lot. So, my
You have a
track
great track record
of
for
one.
one,
Yeah. So maybe we'll do double Corrections Corner next
Yeah.
time. If anyone sees or hears anything that needs to be corrected, let us know.
And will we explain our craft?
Yes.
Yeah, let's
We're
do the craft
doing
first.
hot glue gun canvases. So we're just basically have a blank canvas. These are $3 from the dollar store. And we are just going to put the glue wherever we want and then let it dry and then paint it. So it's just like you can do abstract or floral.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a cheap craft because these were $2, so it was like $10. We already had the glue guns.
Yeah, that's good too because sometimes like my crafting shelves in there, it's getting lots of stuff on there. So if we can reuse stuff, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys can do this at home with us. Send in your pictures if you decide to do one of our crafts. It'd be awesome. I do next time. I feel like I want to make a spring wreath. I don't know if that's going to go along with murder and mayhem. But I really need a new spring wreath. And I just still love the wreaths too.
I still have a Christmas wreath hanging up on my door. So a spring wreath would be good.
wreath time, baby.
Yeah.
I have just like a green one, like a
springy one?
Yeah,
like
it's
grass?
almost springy.
Okay.
It's not grass. It's like a eucalyptus. But
Yes.
we could add some. Oh, there's
Devin
a-
just closed the door downstairs, I think. Or did he fall?
he's peeking in the kitchen.
Devin was?
Yes.
Oh
He
my
wanted to get in the pod. Wait, so did Devin
No.
listen?
No.
'Cause he was.
He
on
didn't
the
listen.
End,
He
he was
didn't
on the
listen.
end of last week's episode.
No, of course he didn't
He
listen.
said nothing.
Said nothing.
Devin.
Stay downstairs, Devin. I thought I heard him going to the tiki bar, so. Alright, Tara's doing our story today, so we can't wait to see. Ashley's gonna draw, but I'm just gonna.
You want to go for it?
I
Okay.
feel strong.
Can you guys imagine what I would be doing for this craft?
No.
Okay.
I really needed to up my dose on my meds too, so I've been feeling extra crazy lately.
Yay!
It would be literally a hot mess. Okay, so just want to preface this episode with it's a story that I have heard many times before, but still researching this weekend found out things that I didn't know, and I think that there's even more to this story in terms of like details and witnesses and things like that I probably didn't include. So not a professional at all, definitely missed something. There's so much to this, but I think that it's such an important story to tell, and if you've heard it before, I hope I do it justice. But also want to begin by acknowledging that we're in Halifax, which is located in Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. And I say this because, I'll get to it, but a little bit more background. As we explore today's story is one deeply rooted in issues of Indigenous injustice, systemic failure, and truth. We honor the Mi'kmaq people and their enduring presence, culture, and strength. So, in a quiet city park in Sydney, Nova Scotia, on an evening, May 29th, 1971, two 17-year-old boys meet up. Two boys' lives will forever be altered, as one won't make it out of the park, and the other will be taken out in handcuffs. With evidence ignored, witnesses pressured, and the truth buried, this episode tells the story of a wrongful conviction, a severe injustice, and what happens when race, class, and power intersect the criminal justice system, and how far institutions may go to protect their own interests, even at the cost of an innocent life. This is the story.
Ooh,
Any
yes. Yes.
Donald Marshall Jr.
I was thinking, I still have the book in my bookshelf.
Yeah, okay, so I
Okay.
looked at a couple
Listeners!
things from the book too.
Okay, listeners, I don't think you understand how big this case specifically. But also, Tara, I was thinking about it today because there's a New Waterford connection to it. Do you know about the New Waterford connection?
No.
Okay, it's actually a friend of ours' father's connection to it. I will share with you later.
Okay.
This is such a big Nova Scotian case. It's also big in, like, Canadian law.
Oh, it's huge in Canadian law. And I'll talk a little bit about, towards the end after the trial.
Good pick.
Yeah, it's
awesome. That's why there's so much.
I was thinking about it today, actually. And
what a
Devin,
coincidence.
Yeah, Devin said they like spend a lot of time in law school, like learning about it.
Oh my gosh. I wish I didn't know that because that makes me even more nervous to like.
Don't worry, Devin doesn't listen. So
don't listen, Devin. He's rated him. Okay.
He don't care.
Okay, so let's start back at the beginning. It's 1953. Membertou First Nation, which is nestled in the urban landscape of Sydney, Nova Scotia, is home to a vibrant Mi'kmaq community. Today, Membertou still sits atop a hill just 3 kilometers from Sydney's downtown core. Membertou wasn't always in its current location. Community was moved from its original location, which was on Kings Road, in 1926. It was the very first time in Canadian history that an Indigenous community was legally forced to relocate.
Wow.
It's huge.
I did not know that, but it is a very large community. And I did read somewhere actually that Membertou is one of the most prosperous reserves in Canada.
It is just like
there's new things there all the time.
New things are so amazing.
Yeah, the big what's it called? What's the big like hotel called now that's there?
There's like a couple hotels.
Membertou Trading Convention Center.
Yeah,
and then it's attached to the Hilton.
Yes.
The Hilton, right?
And there's like
casino, bowling.
There's a huge rink up there. The new rink has like it's one of those like Mondo rinks with like 4 ice surfaces and stuff. It's huge.
Yeah, so it's built up to a very large community, lots of business opportunities, and more so than it was in the 50s.
Is this happening to you?
So in Membertou, September 13th, Donald Marshall Jr. was born. He was the eldest of 13 children born to Caroline Gugu and Donald Marshall Sr. Donald Marshall Sr. was the Grand Chief of the Mi'kmaq Nation. From the moment he entered the world, Donald Jr., also known as Junior, carried the weight of expectation, tradition, and history. Being the son of a Grand Chief didn't shield him from experiencing a racism or systemic discrimination. In fact, growing up as an Indigenous boy in the 1950s and 60s in Nova Scotia meant he encountered both of those overt and quiet acts of prejudice almost daily. Police knew his name early on. He had run-ins with the police. Marshall went through some rebellion in his youth. He got into trouble when he was sent to a non-Indigenous school, and I tried to look up what the school was. I couldn't find it anywhere.
It must have been in Sydney.
But it was in Sydney.
Yeah, I think he like went to Sydney Academy, but might be wrong.
At age 15, he was expelled for striking his teacher. He then fell in with Membertou's Shipyard Gang, which was a group of Mi'kmaq youth from the Membertou First Nation in Sydney, Nova Scotia, active during the late 1960s and early 1970s. Teens engaged in panhandling and petty theft. Marshall became known to police for delinquent behaviors, but had not been known for having been involved with any acts of violence. At 17, he was sentenced to 4 months in county jail for giving alcohol to minors. So just a few of the things that happened to allow police to be familiar with him at this time. Despite his many run-ins with the police at 17 years old, no one, not even his worst critics, could have predicted what was about to unfold.
Crazy.
So we'll get into it. The night of May 29th, Donald meets up with an acquaintance at Wentworth Park in Sydney, Nova Scotia. 17-year-old Sandy Seal, an African Nova Scotian teen and son of a steel worker. Two were hanging out, doing what bored teenager boys sometimes do, maybe looking for some mischief to get up to. According to trial testimony, they allegedly planned to, quote, roll a drunk. Do you guys know what that means?
Like roll, like jump him?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I had to look it up. I've never heard that term. I've never heard that saying.
Okay, in my mind I thought of cow tipping, but
But with people who are drunk.
and rolling.
I think essentially that's what it is. But with drunk people.
but not kill them.
No,
it just
no.
means like beat them up.
Like assault them or rob them.
Oh my God.
Like find someone who's drunk and like
Go for
empty his
it.
pockets or something, right? Of course, this was without any real evidence that this was actually happening, but this term would frame kind of the narrative of Donald's story here from here on out, and what happened next would forever alter the course of Donald's life. So, according to Donald Marshall Jr., they were approached by two older men by the name of Roy Ebisari, hopefully I'm saying that okay, and Jimmy McNeil, who asked them for cigarettes before launching into a string of racial slurs towards the two boys. During this verbal assault, one of the men pulled out a knife and he sliced Marshall's arm and stabbed Seal in the stomach. Marshall briefly fled the scene in shock, but quickly returned to assist Seal, calling an ambulance and offering to help police identify the attacker. So in the time that he ran away, left the scene, probably out of like pure shock, he ran into 14-year-old teen who was walking through the park to get the bus at the time. And he said to him, quote, "Look what they did to me." Marshall was described as wearing a bright yellow jacket, so he literally could not be missed. And a few other people had seen him that night as well and gave the description of the bright yellow jacket. At the time he came up to the 14-year-old, he had a 4-inch gash from a knife on his side.
Gee.
He then said, the teen asked him who did this, and he said, "Two guys over there in the park, my buddy's on the ground with a knife in his stomach."
Oh my God.
He then explained the same story to two couples who were passing by. So immediately we already have a handful of people that have seen him directly after this happened and who he told the same story to. So just kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Also, a retired RCMP officer had overheard Marshall talking to someone else at this point about the stabbing while he was out for a walk, and then he had called the local police to report what he had seen, which was a man in a yellow jacket get into a brown Chevy and drove off while talking about someone being stabbed in Wentworth Park.
Like, no cell phones, man.
Right, so a different time. During this time when Donald Marshall Jr. is away from the scene, Sandy Seal's body was being discovered by another group of teens that were walking home from a dance. One of the teens ran off to get help immediately. And then Donald Marshall Jr., along with the 14-year-old teen, Maynard, returned to the scene. Marshall explained to the group that had come up to Sandy Seal on the ground that he was there during this injury and he'd seen what happened, though he was said to not have tried to help his friend that was on the ground. The 14-year-old Maynard took off his shirt and tried to stop the blood flow from Sandy Seal's stomach.
Oh my God.
And a police officer had arrived.
And so that kiddo was 14, the Maynard guy?
14, yeah. So
brutal.
he becomes a kind of a big part of this too, as being like someone, the first person to talk to Donald Marshall Jr. After the attack happened. So keep that in mind too. So all of these people are there, police officers there. The ambulance was taking a really long time because there had been a particularly bad car accident in the same area during the time Sandy Seal was laying with a knife wound. So after about a half an hour since the police officer got there, I guess the ambulance finally arrived, and Sandy Seal had been transported to the hospital. His parents were called and rushed to the hospital, but for some reason they had not been allowed to go in and see him. At the hospital, Donald Marshall gave a very detailed description of the two men that were involved, and the police immediately put an APB out for their arrest during the same time. 14-year-old Maynard was picked up and brought to the hospital for questioning. He told them that he's seen everything, and his story did seem to match up with Donald's. The officer that was taking his statement didn't record it because he said it matched up with Donald, so it didn't seem necessary to record it.
Yikes. Oh.
Later, when cops are trying to convict Donald Marshall Jr., that piece of the puzzle will come into play again and really work against him.
Yeah. So, like, most people probably have heard, like, this, not the story with the detail that you were giving it, but know about kind of what happened at the end of this, but, like, don't know about the details. Like, I know probably more about this than the average Nova Scotian, but I didn't know all the people that they would have ran into afterwards.
Yeah, I never really thought about that.
Yeah, so if you do know anything about this story, which I did too, and again, to even hear it, you know, if you know ultimately what happened to Donald Marshall Jr., to hear now all of these people who ran into him immediately after the attack, and, you know, the people that the police have talked to, and still his fate was kind of sealed.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to go back and like look at all these fine details
to see where it went wrong.
Right.
Like, yeah,
exactly. Okay, so we're back at the hospital. Okay, so despite Donald's cooperation, the investigation was deeply flawed from the outset. Police failed to secure or photograph the crime scene, and they made little effort to gather evidence or pursue suspects.
Classic.
Police acted swiftly, not to uncover the truth necessarily, but to pin the blame on someone. The day after the attack, Sandy Seal died from his injuries in the hospital. Strangely, no autopsy was ever conducted. Just 1 week later, authorities arrested Donald Marshall Jr., dismissing his account of the incident and suggesting the stab wound he suffered was self-inflicted.
Oh my god. I'm just gonna quickly like
Stab
rip a few
myself.
veins
Yeah.
just to really commit to the cause here.
Right.
And they were buds. Like, what was the motive?
They were
Like,
they were acquaintances.
they were traveling together that night, you said, right?
Yeah, they met up together and they were walking through the park together. Also, his wound, Donald Marshall Jr.'s wound was 4 inches. So, I don't know. That seems like,
really
for a knife, like that's to do to yourself?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You would give
What's
yourself
your take on 4
a
inches?
superficial,
Right, yeah.
a superficial cut.
Did they talk about how deep it was? Did it cut any veins?
No, I don't know. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't find anything about how deep it was.
Well, obviously they're not taking great records of what actually happened, Tara,
No.
so it's probably not your fault.
Yeah.
It's probably not, it's not out there.
I just think if you're going to, you would just do a superficial little cut.
Yeah.
Right,
So,
like
to
you
do-
just
oh, I'm
make
a
yourself
tattoo,
bleed
right?
and then
Emma Roberts style scream.
Yeah.
fine.
yes,
You know what I mean?
rub the blood around,
Yeah,
make it look
rub
worse
it-
than
rub
it
it
is,
around,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, so Marshall was already known to police at this time. He was a familiar figure. He had a file. So it was easy. It was convenient, right, to go to him. There was no forensic evidence linking him to the crime. There was no murder weapon. Only a handful of unreliable witness statements. Some of the statements weren't even taken. And then some were later revealed to be coerced or entirely fabricated. And we'll get to that.
And like I just have this vision of this 14-year-old kid. Like,
Oh, you just wait. You just wait what they do to that
you know, at
14-year-old.
that time, 14-year-olds didn't have any type of protection from anybody, or you know.
Right.
Oh God.
Yes. Yeah. So, okay. So we'll get into some of these witnesses. So I hope I'm saying this name right. Pratico, 16-year-old with known mental health issues, was taken to the crime scene by McIntyre. He was the investigator who suggested a version of events implicating Marshall. Eventually, so there was 2 14-year-olds, I guess, that were in the park. So it was Maynard and Pratico, this other. So the police kind of coerced him into adopting this narrative, claiming that he saw Marshall stab Seal. Maynard was he was the other 14-year-old. He was on probation. His parents were very devout Christians. He was supposed to be somewhere else that night. And at the time he was trying to catch a bus back to Lewisburg where he lived. So he'd also been drinking. So the police had used all of this information against him and kind of made him feel like backed into a corner.
Yeah.
And fearful that, you know, if he didn't do and say what the police wanted him to do and say, that he could get in trouble. So though at the hospital at the beginning when he was saying, like, I've seen everything, I know everything, and he told his statement to a police officer, that police officer didn't record it. So now they're sitting and talking to him and making him feel nervous for what could happen to him. Maybe he could go to jail if he doesn't say what they want him to say.
What is a 14-year-old doing on probation? Times are weird.
What he did, yeah.
Like
Yes. So anyway, he gave a statement that said basically he seen Donald Marshall stab Sandy Seal, and was basically coerced into giving this false account. Despite this, the defense team failed to challenge the testimony or request prior statements from the prosecution. The results, you know, a very short trial. I think it was only, I read 3 days.
I mean, what else do you need, though? If you have someone
one.
saying, this is what I saw.
Right.
Give an eyewitness account. You don't really need a long trial for that.
And the times are different. Like, they're not saying you don't need a motive maybe, or you don't need any DNA or...
Well, there was none. And there was no murder weapon.
And
but they have this kid now saying, yes, I seen it.
Yeah.
So jury found him guilty and Marshall was sentenced to life in prison.
My gosh.
In the wake of the trial, Ebiseri, one of the two men that Marshall said attacked them, had reportedly told his friends that he had committed the stabbing. And even went so far as to write a letter to Marshall admitting that he knew he was innocent.
Yes.
Yeah. Additionally, the investigation ignored critical evidence pointing to Ebiseri as the actual perpetrator. In 1974, Ebiseri's daughter, Donna, informed detectives that she had seen her father cleaning a bloody knife on the night of the murder.
Oh my God.
The detectives dismissed her claim, stating that the case was closed.
Okay, sidebar. Like, I think my dad is like around this age. What year was this?
That was 74.
So
71 was, yeah.
Oh my God, no, my dad was way older. So, but like he was from the pier, so he kind of knew, and he knew all the players in this. He was like, the Ebiseri guy was crazy. So, yeah. Anyway,
And I don't know, like how much the police actually talked to
I don't think they talked to him at all.
Jimmy McNeil and Ebiseri. Like couldn't really find a whole lot on it.
Yeah, like where's Jimmy McNeil? Why isn't he like, yo, my buddy?
He comes back into play.
Okay, good.
But yeah. None of this mattered because Donald Marshall Jr. had already been convicted of murder and sentenced to life behind bars. So imagine being locked away.
And he's 17?
He's 17. He was in prison for 11 years.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Life on pause at 17. You know, your youth is gone. That's it. Your family's gone. Your friends are gone. You know, and to sit there and think like nobody listened to me.
And your faith in, like, I was just gonna say, your faith in the whole
faith in the
justice system and the world and the people that are supposed to protect you.
Everything you ever wanted, and
Yes. So
Horrible.
for 11 long years behind bars, Donald Marshall Jr. fought tooth and nail to get his freedom back, sending letters, filing appeal after appeal. No one was listening. The system remained unmoved and indifferent to his pleas. But in 1983, things changed.
Ooh.
A witness who previously stepped forward was finally taken seriously. Not just any witness, but someone who had been there that night, Jimmy McNeil. So apparently very shortly after, Jimmy McNeil, from the night of the murder, had told police that he had been with Roy Ebiseri the night Sandy Seal was stabbed in Wentworth Park. And it was Ebiseri who had done it, not Marshall. So this piece of information finally came back up into light. The right person grabbed it, I guess, and rolled with it, and became a game changer. So despite the initial resistance from the police, the truth now began to unravel. More and more pieces of the puzzle were falling into place. The shaky witness testimony from the original trial, some of it later revealed to have been coerced, started to look even more suspicious, and witnesses began to recant their trial testimonies.
Ooh. Because they did like a... Sorry, did I miss this part? Because, it's really hard to craft and focus.
I know.
Because Tara didn't even know...
I didn't know what was happening last episode.
But they did another... Is this when you're talking about the retrial? Like, they did another trial? Or
yes.
Are you there yet?
They did appeals. They did another retrial, yes. So now we're getting to that.
Okay.
Where they're starting to say witnesses were coerced in the first trial. So that's not fair. Like, we need to do it again.
Yes.
Then these witnesses began to take back their
Okay,
statements.
this is where my story comes in.
Okay.
This is a very close friend of ours, and I will I'm not going to say anybody's name directly here, but you know who you are. So her father was one of these random children walking through Wentworth Park at night, saw Emissary and this other person running, and told the police. So this is the crazy part of this story. Her dad went and told him, and they said, okay, they took his statement. Then later on, you guys know where the police station is in Sydney?
Yeah.
So it wasn't always there. When they were moving from the first place to this place where it is now, they were moving someone's desk, and this man's statement was buried in someone's desk, and it wasn't ever brought into the first trial. So then they recalled, this is our friend's dad, he testified in this trial, in the second one.
Pause. Pause it.
Okay, hold on. I gotta get it back up. Oh, man. Okay, pause versus. I just told them what it was, but...
Shocked. I'm shocked.
I know. They didn't know.
I had no idea.
Okay,
so
pause.
there was more people that aren't even in this story or any story I read.
We should try and get consent next week and share this for our listeners because it's a really actually touching thing that happens to the family. But anyway, we'll try and get consent from this person because it's really incredible. But yeah, should we do a quick pause and check in on our oh my gosh, sorry, I'm going quick, Ash. Okay, not to stop you, Tara, but
no, all good.
This is coming.
Can you see
We're
it?
holding it up. It's literally too white. So you can't see anything. If you're listening right now, just flip over to our YouTube. We're holding up our pieces of art, and the canvases are white, and the glue is clear.
So I'll explain as if it's as if you were blind. I'll explain what's going on here. This is a vase, and I have the stems coming, and then the flowers coming into the vase.
And mine is just an outdoor scene with grass and flowers, and I love it.
Okay. I do really actually enjoy this craft.
This is really
fun.
fun.
So
I'm gonna go get the paint here in a second because I feel like I could start painting quite soon. Actually, you might not be ready, but mine is an outdoorsy vibe.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna pause it while I grab the paint, y'all. Hold on 1 second. And we're back. That's my new thing, is to ask if you guys are ready and make sure you're not ready when we're back.
And then press it.
And then press play. I'm just getting some water. I just grabbed some watercolor paint. I'm gonna use watercolor for the background for sure. I don't know if the watercolor will stick to the other stuff, but I'm gonna do the background first. Okay, Tara, take it away.
All right, so let's see, where were we? All right, so in this case that initially seemed to be full of holes, the truth is finally starting to come out. New evidence. Donald's legal team, led by the tireless Ann Derrick and Clayton Ruby, took their fight to the Nova Scotia Court of Appeal. In 1983, after a long and exhausting battle, the court finally ruled that Marshall's conviction was a miscarriage of justice. They found that his conviction had been based on faulty evidence, and that both police and his defense had mishandled the case entirely. Donald Marshall Jr. was acquitted, but the damage had already been done. However, this was not the end. In 1989, the Royal Commission on the Donald Marshall Jr. prosecution took a closer look at the case, unearthing even more shocking details about how deeply flawed and biased the system had been.
Yes.
Police had failed to investigate properly and relied on improper, even unethical methods, such as eliciting false confessions and ignoring crucial evidence. Especially with that Maynard Chaney, the way that they got him to give, the information that they wanted to give, and he's only 14 years old.
She doesn't know.
I didn't see this anywhere, but I don't think he had an adult present. I don't think he had a parent present or, legal counsel.
No, and at 14, you wouldn't be able to see the repercussions of what you're admitting to, right? Of giving that statement, he wouldn't see what was going to happen.
Well, your brain's not developed. Of course not.
And specifically, they tell him that he needs to be forthcoming because they know that he was drinking and he's not supposed to get in any more trouble with the police. So lying could get him into more trouble.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what made him tell the police out of fear, right? So,
imagine thinking, which you would at 14, that getting in trouble for drinking is scarier than sending an innocent man to prison.
Of course.
Prison.
Oh my gosh. I would not want to tell my mother
No.
that happened, let alone say I'm going to jail.
Well, kids are very self-interested. That's part of what they're...
And obviously the cops knew that he would tell, right?
Yes.
What a sin.
Very sad. Very unfortunate because it put someone in prison for 11 years. So after 11 long years, Donald Marshall Jr. was finally free, but the freedom he gained came with a very heavy cost. Years of his life taken by a justice system that essentially failed him, not just once, but over and over again as he continued to try to appeal this case and get justice. So he had been wrongfully convicted of a crime he did not commit, a crime he had actually tried to prevent.
Crazy.
A friend that died that, he was there, tried to help.
Yeah.
So this case was not just about his fight for justice, but also about the systemic racism and failures that shaped this entire story. In the end, Donald Marshall Jr. was awarded $270,000 for the 11 years he spent behind bars.
Nothing.
Wait, I thought he got way more. I thought he got $11 million or something.
No.
Holy.
What's a breakdown of that?
Okay, so I'll tell you.
Yeah, because...
So this sum was meant to compensate him for more than a decade of lost time, freedom, and dignity. He was additionally granted a monthly lifetime pension of $1,000.
Oh my gosh. Go to Shoppers Drug Mart. There goes your $1,000, so.
Now, this is in the 80s, so, maybe you're saying it's $270,000,
it's still
a lot for the 80s? No.
No.
For many people, including Indigenous leaders and justice advocates, it was not enough. The payout felt like a slap in the face compared to the magnitude of what he has endured. So, just looking at adjusting for inflation, Marshall's $270,000 in 1990 would be about $550,000 to $600,000 today.
That's not very much.
So it's much less than what others have got for just even 1 or 2 years of wrongful imprisonment. So despite being in prison for 11 years, being a catalyst for one of Canada's most impactful judicial inquiries, enduring systemic racism as an Indigenous man, Marshall received one of the lowest compensations per year served of all known wrongful conviction cases in Canada.
What? Tara, I did not know this. I thought he got way more. That's why I'm so shocked.
Because you probably assumed he
yes,
would.
Of course
Because you
I
would
did.
think that he would.
Well, yes.
So looking at other Canadian wrongful conviction payouts, just to compare and contrast, David Milgaard received $10 million for 23 years behind bars. That's nearly $435,000 per year. Stephen Truscott was awarded $6.5 million for 10 years of wrongful conviction, about $650,000 per year. More recently, William Mullins Johnson and James Driscoll each received over $4 million for 12 years of wrongful imprisonment.
That's not enough money, everybody. Like, that is not enough money. I'm sorry. Like, if you, I bet you, I wonder if you could sue them beyond that, like in a civil court, because like that doesn't account for wages potentially lost, or or damaged of your mind, or that kind of stuff. Because I feel like there's just like, sorry, we did this. That's not enough money still.
Yeah, it's hard because like you can't put a price on freedom.
But they do.
But it's not enough.
Yes.
No matter what, it's not enough. Like,
right.
Totally.
That man should have been given the world.
Yeah, getting millions.
But you know what? I did hear there's like some cases, and probably in the States or I don't know, wherever, they don't get anything. They just get out.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's horrible.
And I think that, again, still shows racism and prejudice. Because if he had have been a white man, he probably wouldn't have been in prison. But would he have gotten more money?
He might not have been incarcerated, for one. Let's start with that. Yeah. But, would he have been awarded more compensation if he had been a white male? Right. So, in addition to the Nova Scotia Court of Appeal finally overturning Donald Marshall's Jr. conviction, it should have been a moment of, pure happiness, joy, relief for a long overdue vindication. But instead, the court added one final insult.
Stop.
In the judge's ruling, the judge claimed that Donald was, quote, the author of his own misfortune. So that callous line from the court wasn't just wrong, it was dangerous. And years later, the Royal Commission called it exactly what it was, a serious and a fundamental error.
Yeah.
The fallout from Donald's wrongful conviction was massive. In 1990, the Royal Commission delivered its final report. It laid bare a justice system riddled with bias, misconduct, and systemic racism, from the police who were cutting corners, to the prosecutors who withheld evidence, to the judges who looked the other way and even blamed Donald for being involved in this in the first place. Because of all of this, something else happened too. And in spite of all the negatives, the case brought about change.
Big time. I know this part.
Yeah. So because Donald Marshall Jr., the laws of evidence in Canada were rewritten. No longer could prosecutors decide on their own what evidence was relevant, but now full disclosure became the rule, not the exception. So a hard-fought reform born from unimaginable injustice of this case. After his exoneration, Donald Marshall Jr. could have disappeared from the public life. No one would blame him and just went on, and lived his life out.
Tried to get his life back together.
$270,000.
Yeah.
He'd have to work. He already endured so much, but instead of stepping away, he stepped up and he became a powerful voice for Indigenous justice throughout Canada, especially for the Mi'kmaq people. Once again, he found himself in court not as the accused, but as the challenger. His issue that he was fighting was fishing eels without a license. So it might have seemed like a small issue, but what Donald argued was groundbreaking, that 18th century Mi'kmaq treaties gave him the right to fish and trade freely without government interference. And in 1999, the Supreme Court of Canada agreed. In the historic R versus Marshall decision, the court ruled that those old treaties weren't dusty relics, that they were binding legal documents and they should be followed. So the ruling sent shockwaves through the legal system and reaffirmed that Indigenous rights were not just symbolic, but they were to be treated as law.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, we do some stuff around that, like nowadays in schools too, when we talk about the friendship treaties and stuff. His name comes up quite a bit for something positive.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, every year we talk about them in school, it's always like a positive thing.
Right. So I think it's amazing how he kind of took, all of this hardship and used his name for something good.
I think
people in his community.
Yeah, I would have a hard time doing that because I would be like
so angry.
Yes.
And I would be so bitter and I would hold such a grudge. Like, I don't know how,
Just to turn it around.
Yeah, it would have been an
into
amazing
something
way.
good.
Yeah.
Would definitely be hard. For
Yeah.
sure. Unfortunately, his road did still remain difficult, and after a lung transplant in 2003, his health declined. He also faced a series of personal challenges, including minor legal issues in later years that led to his restorative justice. These things were dismissed entirely. So I think I took that to mean like maybe he did try to get more money, or to try to battle a little bit more in terms of like legal routes.
Yeah.
With not getting anywhere. So on August 6, 2009, Donald Marshall Jr. passed away in his hometown of Sydney, Nova Scotia at just 55 years old.
Wow.
It's kind of sad because that's young.
That is very young,
very
especially
young.
if you spent, what was it, 11
years
in prison?
in
Like,
prison.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. His story didn't end there. 2010, the Membertou First Nation, his home community, honored him with a statue standing tall outside the Membertou Trading Convention Center that we spoke about at the beginning. It's not just a memorial, it's a statement, a reminder of what one man's endurance, courage, and refusal to stay silent can do. Author and Mi'kmaq historian Daniel Paul later proposed renaming Cornwallis Square in Halifax after Donald Marshall Jr., replacing the legacy of a colonizer with that of a man who stood against injustice. So that is
Did they do it?
cool. I think it was just proposed, right? They didn't
I
actually
don't think they changed it yet.
Changed it.
They should.
Once they hear the podcast,
Once they hear this, we stand.
head of government's been listening,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
please.
So, what do we take from Donald Marshall Jr.'s story? Maybe justice doesn't fail in the shadows; it can, fail in plain sight too. While the world looks the other way, teaches us maybe that silence isn't neutrality; it's complicity, and that race doesn't matter. Often in courtrooms and other institutions.
But it did here.
But it does here. It does here. Treaties are living promises. We must abide by them. They are law. When those promises are broken, they don't just damage law, they damage lives. And maybe most importantly, shows us that one man's pain and fight can shake foundations of an entire nation. So Donald Marshall Jr. paid a price he should never have had to pay. But from his injustice did come a reckoning, because justice isn't guaranteed, and he definitely fought for it. So those types of things can't be taken for granted. And he is a lasting legacy, in our community and in Canada.
Big time.
Yeah. So that's the story of Donald Marshall Jr. and the murder of Sandy Seal.
That one's heavy.
It was heavy.
Big.
Yeah.
So many losers there.
Yes,
like Sandy
many
Seal, like
losers.
R.I.P., and of course the whole situation. And I actually don't think they ended up charging Ebenezer. What's his name?
Adversary?
Adversary. I don't think they charged that dude with anything. Like, I think the murder is
You just
not
got away with it.
accounted for.
Right. So I don't think so either. I have to actually double check on that, but I did
think
not
there was,
see
like-
there was any convictions actually made for Sandy Seal's murder, which is very sad.
For Sandy Seal's family,
Yes.
who I actually went to university with a relative
Oh my
later
goodness.
on.
The connections here.
The connections are crazy. Well, especially where it took place kind of close to our community. It's like a very small place.
Yes. Mhm.
But it's so crazy to think that happened in the first place. And you know what? Definitely still happens today. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I hope not to that extent,
No, of
though,
course
especially
not,
with
yeah.
like just the way, that the cops initially were like, well, we know who he is, and they thought that they knew what, Donald Marshall Jr. was about, and obviously he was there, so he did it.
I think it would be a lot harder for them to get away with doing that
Right.
now. But I don't doubt that they would if they could.
Right. Even
Right.
a conviction with no forensic evidence. Like, I
No.
guess in the 70s that wasn't
Yeah.
like quite where it is now, but
Yeah.
no evidence, no murder weapon.
Yeah.
No motive.
Motive. Witnesses, like it just doesn't seem.
Yeah.
It just seems crazy.
You know what doesn't seem crazy? My watercolor background.
See
my
it.
gosh, look at the pretty colors.
Beautiful.
It's really pretty.
It's very beautiful.
Now, I'm wondering, Ashley, sorry, just to get away from DM for a second, what type of paint is going to stick to this hot glue? Baby?
I don't know. I'm going to use
the
other
paint's not supposed to
acrylic
stick to
paint.
the glue part, right? That's the point.
Yeah, I want to cover mine.
I want to color the glue. I want to cover the
I think
chunky glue.
I think we need the acrylic
Okay,
paint.
we're going to get the acrylic paint out.
Okay,
Stand
BRB.
by, and maybe we'll talk about the after show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, Tara, that was so well done.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Really, really well
go.
done.
Okay, be right back. Hey guys, we're actually back with a special guest star.
Our first guest.
Our first guest on the
Welcome,
pod.
Welcome, Devin.
We have invited many people to the podcast, including Adnan from Serial, the
Hello.
ghost of Bill Paxton, many others.
What's
Have
the
you-
guy?
Grant?
Willie Balls. Who's that the detective that you like so much?
Oh,
Jimmy Holes.
no, Paul
Paul
Holes.
Holes.
What did you call it, Billy Balls?
I knew it was something to do with genitalia.
Devin, this is a PG-13.
Oh my God, Devin can't come on anymore.
Okay, Devin heard Tara's story and what an amazing job she was doing, and Devin had some things that he wanted to add because he knows a bit more about the story that maybe you do know more.
Well, I don't know
doubt
much
it.
more about it. I know a little bit about it because we studied it in law school. It's obviously forms a big part of legal history in Canada and Nova Scotia in particular. And I think Tara talked about the changes in the law that came as a result of it. But one of the other recommendations that came out of the Royal Commission was funding for First Nations and Black law students at Dalhousie University. And I was one of the ones who was the beneficiary of it's called the IB&M program, Indigenous, Black, and Mi'kmaq program.
Okay.
And so I attended law school on that scholarship, I guess, if you want to call it that. So basically it provides funding for Black and First Nations. I guess it's Nova Scotians initially, but I think more so Canadians to attend law school so that you can go to law school without having to, basically it pays
Was
for
it a full ride? Like, did it pay for your tuition?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Amazing.
How many people per year do you know? Well, would you know?
I don't know how many spots there are per year. I don't know what it is now. I think the year I went in, there were 8 of us.
Wow. Oh my
That's
gosh.
awesome.
Yeah.
So Candy Palmater,
Yes, she died.
she passed away. Candy
Yes,
Palmater, she was an actress and she was in the program before me.
She is an Indigenous lawyer.
Yeah, Indigenous lawyer and actress, and there are a few judges currently on the bench in Nova Scotia who were in the Chief Justice of the Nova Scotia Provincial Court, I believe he is, Perry Borden, was in my class. TJ Burke, who was the Minister of Justice, I believe he was the first Aboriginal MLA, definitely in Atlantic Canada, maybe in Canada altogether. He was also in my class. He was part of the IB&M program as well.
Wow.
So yeah, so
Very cool.
that was one of the recommendations that came out of it. But we learned a lot about it.
I didn't realize Tara did talk about like how it reshaped what was it, Tara? You said like
the laws of evidence and the rules of evidence
Yeah.
about what you have to disclose going into a criminal trial, and that now, it was always you always had to sort of provide full disclosure of what you were going to use in a prosecution, but now you have to disclose everything, whether it helps the Crown's case or whether it hurts the Crown's case. You have to. I think it was always that way, but I think it's even more strictly so now.
Cool.
I don't practice in criminal law, so I don't know all the details of it, but essentially, if you're being charged criminally, the province or the Crown has to disclose everything that they have, whether it helps their case or hurts their case.
Yeah.
And I think that was the situation with Donald Marshall, was that they made up their mind that he was guilty, and that they focused their investigation on not finding who the guilty person was, but proving
that he was
that
guilty.
Donald Marshall was the guilty
Yeah.
one. And I think you guys probably talked about the statements that were held back and
Yeah.
Yeah.
that things like that. And that you know.
I know.
Don't
say their name. Don't say their
name. I won't say any names, but no, a good friend of the girls who they grew up with. Their dad was one of the ones who gave a statement that night.
So legally now, in this day, you can't withhold that.
You have to give that information.
Yeah, you may have had to back then as well, but I think they didn't, and I think now it's even.
You're not going to get away with it.
It's worse. It's worse if you if they had done that today.
Yeah.
The consequences of doing that would be far more significant, I think, than they would have been back then.
Cool.
Interesting. I'll get a final story about the person that we know or that you know who gave that statement. I was told that many years later, recently, that they were out for dinner one night and Donald Marshall's parents came over to their table and paid for their dinner and gave.
Oh my God!
Gave the person who we're talking about, whose name we can't say, gave him a big hug and thanked him. And I think this might have even been after. I believe Donald Marshall has passed away before. I think his parents were. I think he had passed away, but I think his parents were still alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, that's the story I heard. I obviously.
We need to get all the details.
We heard it from the person themselves. So.
Yeah.
It must be true.
It has to be true. Yeah.
But anyways, I think it was. I mean, it's a huge turning point.
Yeah.
The legal system in Canada.
Yeah.
And anybody who's been to law school.
Unfortunate like that it had to happen, but I mean, it's just.
Yeah, unfortunately it had to happen, but that something positive
came
out. Such a big change.
Devin, did you know he only got $275,000? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought he got more than that.
No. Oh, he got a pension of $1,000.
$1,000 a month with pension
for the rest
plus
of his life.
$270.
I had understood he got more than that, but I could be wrong. You did the research, I didn't.
We could be wrong as well.
We'll find out next week.
Do some
Corrections
corrections.
corner. If I'm wrong, Devin can come back.
I thought he got $11 million.
That's what I thought too.
But I could be wrong on that.
But maybe the 11 is actually the 11 years he was in prison. That could be what I'm
Well, let's check it out.
Yes.
Devin, this was legal corner.
Legalese
with Devin.
We'll let Devin every once in a while for some legalese. Since he's not a real lawyer.
I'm actually working on my criminal law degree at night.
Her Google law degree.
Yes.
Thank you, Devin.
Bye guys, enjoy the show.
Thank you.
That was fun.
That was fun.
You guys, I can't believe the amount of connections that we have to
I
this
know.
story.
And it's
1 degree, literally, because our best friend's dad.
Yeah.
I know, it's crazy.
That is so wild, and I want to call him up right now.
Yeah.
We should have him on the podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to go get Ashley's paint.
Okay.
Pause. This episode is brought to you by the Algerine. No, not a new craft beer or a haunted Airbnb, but the Newfoundland ship that showed up after the Titanic sank to do the job no one wanted, body pickup.
While Jack was busy letting go, the crew of the Algerine was out there with stiff upper lips and stiffer cargo, sailing icy waters to bring some dignity to a disaster. Think of them as the world's coldest, soggiest cleanup crew.
So next time you're feeling dramatic about your job, just remember, at least you didn't have to fish frozen aristocrats out of the Atlantic. Learn more about these unsung maritime morticians at algerinelegacy.ca, because even disaster needs a mop-up crew.
Okay, we're back from just a little brief hiatus. I am rocking with some watercolor on here, and Ashley is on the struggle bus.
Yeah, I wanted to do like an off-white, but none of the colors will mix together, so I'm just doing bright white.
Pure white. I think that'll be nice.
Bright blazing
I
white.
want to make a TikTok.
I like it. I have an update. So, Devin and Sam, you guys are right.
Since we just paused, this is the update.
This is the update. Breaking news. Okay, corrections corner already. I knew we would have some corrections corner for this one.
This is a big one.
Yeah. So initially, Donald Marshall Jr. only received $270,000, but then after the Royal Commission released a report, Marshall's compensation was increased to $1.5 million lifetime pension, which he received until his death in 2009.
So
I don't know if that means. Did he get that
every year? He must. Annually?
every year?
Has to be.
No.
Although still 1.5 million, that's not getting you a new house.
No.
Okay?
No.
Not in today's economy. Anyway,
But that's
Yes.
So that's better than initially what he got.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's like winning Simply for Life. Or not Simply for Life. What's the Set for Life?
Set for Life.
Free groceries.
Simply for Life, I think. What's Simply for Life? Oh, that's like a diet thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's like a
I thought
treat.
it was Simply Financial.
What do people always ask though? Like, would you rather win the Set for Life? Would you rather get
Yes.
a potato?
Would you? Yeah.
Is
People,
it weekly or would you just a lump sum?
it's weekly. $1,000 a week.
I get the weekly. I think no, but I think but then when you do it out the math, the lump sum is
People say to do
Yeah.
the lump sum.
more. But then you get a tax more.
You get taxed on, but other people, like certain people, be like, then you invest it and you make more money.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that.
I'm not gonna do that.
No,
No, give
no.
me $1,000 a week for 25 years.
I'm
I
okay
think
with
that's-
$1,000 a week. I feel like I always have money coming in.
I know. I feel like
Yeah.
that's awesome. Sometimes I'm like, maybe I just quit my job, but no, I would never.
I don't think you could quit
$1,000
your
a week
job.
wouldn't do it, but it's not that far off. I mean, every 2 weeks, like, but still, imagine if you had your other money too.
Right. Then
Yeah.
you would be
Yeah.
like
But
you'd
yes,
be feeling good.
and I think Mark Carney's changing all the tax stuff, like capital gains.
Oh. We
Don't-
can't get into this.
Don't ask me.
No.
Don't ask me. Okay.
Can't be politics.
No.
Podcast.
We can't be politics and true crime and crafting. We can't do it all. Everybody.
Politics
Oh.
is true crime.
Politics is
We're
very
just
true
girls.
crimey.
We want to do it all, but we
Yeah.
can't.
We can't do it all.
But
Everybody should try to.
Everyone should try to. But speaking of doing it all, I feel like I tried to do it all this weekend, and today it just all caught up to me, and I was just like, I don't even know.
Oh,
I felt
Tara.
crazy today. Yeah. So I did. But you know what? I do that to myself. I try to do all
Yeah.
kinds of things, and like I want to just have a lot going on all the time.
Yeah.
But then it catches up to
Yeah.
me, and then I get overwhelmed, and I'm like, I'm taking on too much.
You definitely do that,
I
and
do that.
like you never say no either.
I
So if
never.
I'm like, Tara, would you mind doing the story next week? You'd be like, yeah, okay.
I would
and then,
do it.
And then you do it, and just cause yourself so much harm.
Next Sunday morning, I would be fully raging and regretting, but like right now, I'd be like, yes, absolutely, of course.
But now you don't have the story for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yay!
But you know what? Yes, it's extra work, but I like this stuff. I would rather do this than like clean my house and do laundry or
Yeah.
like do all the things that I have to do, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I feel like kind of the same a little bit. This week for me was super busy, and then this upcoming. What's really hard for me is when I have an upcoming busy week.
Yes.
Like I hate thinking about what I have to do. I hate that. I hate it.
the anticipation of
Yes.
all the things you need to do and like how you're going to organize them and fit
I feel like
everything in.
sometimes it's just bigger in my brain than it is in
Yes.
actual real life.
Mhm.
But I did clean my house exceedingly well today. I was very
It looks
happy to get it done.
amazing in
Thank
there.
Thank you.
As
It's
it always does.
Can you
always
come do
important when
Yes.
we invite our viewers into our homes.
Oh my gosh, we should do this podcast in my house, and
They'd
it would
forced
be
to do
like
it.
people would be like,
I
not.
still
You'd be
would.
like, are you? She's not okay.
I still wouldn't even clean mine for and they'd be like, yeah, like Sandy, you at least clean it.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. But I also like to do it on Sunday because it's like a nice way to start my week, I guess.
Yeah,
Little
I
reset.
understand the
Yeah.
thought behind that, but
Yeah.
would I still do it? No.
So yeah, what else has been going on with you girls? Actually, that looks amazing.
That does look really.
I should have did all white.
I
Man.
I like your. They're both different styles,
They're very
so we
different
can show the
styles.
viewers like how you could do it in a different way.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
So
It's
you
very
couldn't
nice.
just see our plain white canvases.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
No, they're
Part
both
that's
beautiful.
bothering me though is the little hairs from the glue.
I know. It feels like you're working
I
with.
was trying to get them off, but they're not really.
Well, it feels like you're kind of
coming
working with
off.
spiderwebs.
And I also feel like the
No doubt
canvas
styles.
is like just soaking in the paint.
Maybe you need to let it dry and then do another.
No,
coat.
you know what? I like it when it soaks in the paint because then all the paint mixes up and it's kind of abstracty and cute.
I need like our tweezers that we had before.
All right. Well, should we do the after show?
Yeah.
Let's welcome to the after show. Okay, we need to come up with some sort of.
We need a little jingle
We need a jingle.
for the after show.
If you have a jingle, write in.
us your
If you're
ideas.
related to Bill Paxton, write in.
Yeah.
Send us an email. It's craftingcase@gmail.com in case you didn't know.
You know what else we need to do,
Oh God.
which we didn't.
What?
The promo for the Algerine.
Oh, that's right. We didn't record the Algerine.
We did.
Do you want to just do it right now?
Yes.
Do it in your best. Okay, here's the challenge. Do it in your best, thickest Cape Breton accent. Do you want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not doing it.
She's definitely not going to do it. Welcome aboard the Aldrine, where the food is tasty and the drinks are free. We'll cruise up and down the Sydney Harbour. I don't know, man. I'm just making stuff up.
The Bearschwa.
The Bearschwa. Okay, first of all, before we do the after show, let me tell you about some of the stats that we've accrued this week.
Oh, yes.
Some stats. We now have 3 listeners in Poland.
Okay.
Poland
If you're
loves us.
Poland can't stop, okay? I love Polish people. Actually,
3 separate Polish people or 3
Listeners.
3 viewers
Right.
from a Polish
when
person?
you look at the countries listed on the stats for the podcast, it says Poland 3. And it says Russia 1.
Oh, we thought we had...
No, maybe 5. I don't know what's happening in Russia, and I don't care to know. But it's cool. UK is still at 1. So if you're our solo UK listener, please just pump us up a bit, okay? We really love the UK. I've been there a couple times. I love it there. Super fun, super chill. I love fish and chips. Yeah, but what else did we... It wasn't our best week, to be honest, and I think that's because it was my story. I don't know. You guys
No,
just...
because I wrote it.
Yeah, but it must be my voice.
Oh,
my
it's
God.
not.
In case you're just
You
listening
have a
to the pod.
radio voice.
In case you're just listening to the pod, I'm breaking the fourth wall and I'm looking at the camera slyly.
Did you hear saying you have a face for radio?
Yes.
Is that what you meant, Tara?
No, I just mean like you do. You have a good voice.
Devin
Like,
sometimes
people
tells
listen
me
to you.
I have a voice, or what? I have the face for a podcast. That's the same
That's
thing.
the same thing, but
Yeah.
our podcast is on YouTube, so
Yeah.
it's not the same
It's
meaning.
not the same, Devin. Okay, what else? I finished that book, Do Not Disturb by Frida McFadden.
Oh, how was it?
It was mediocre. It wasn't her best, to be honest. But it was okay.
What is the best one that you read? The Freedom
The
McFadden
best one
book.
that I read, well, she did all those housemaid ones, right?
Do you think those were the best?
They were pretty good, yeah.
Have you read Never Lie?
Yes.
Oh, that was my
that was
favorite.
really good. Yeah. Did you read The Boyfriend?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
So many of them.
I know. There's a ton of. Boyfriend is good.
Oh, the teacher.
Teacher hated it. I hated it.
I hated it.
Gross.
Ugh.
Gross.
And being a teacher, I think maybe
Yes.
No.
That's
I
of course.
hated
It was horrible. It was the worst.
Awful.
One. Sorry, Freeds. I know she's a listener, so sorry.
Come on and explain the teacher to us.
Do better,
It was
okay?
not good.
I haven't really been. I've been working lots and helping people lots. What else have I been doing?
Prepping for next weekend.
Prepping. We have a little get together going on next Friday, so just been kind of getting ready for that a little bit. But yeah, there's nothing really exciting going on in my life besides that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You, Ash?
yeah, Ashley.
Did you watch TV?
No.
Nope.
I did not see, but there was a new season of Fortnite. So
Oh, it came out today,
okay.
didn't it?
Yeah, it came out Friday.
Oh,
They
do
like
you want to
so
know
it's-
why I know that?
because it's Star Wars.
No, because I work with kids.
Oh yeah.
Every child I spoke to last week was like, "There's a new update for Fortnite."
Yeah, so it's Star Wars,
Yeah, because
which
May
is
the
not my
4th.
thing. But anyway,
Yeah.
last they had Sabrina Carpenter on as a character like last season.
Woo!
So usually when the seasons end, there's supposed to be like a concert. So they had a Juice WRLD concert, and they had whoever else was there. Eminem had a
God.
concert. So
Cool.
I actually like Sabrina Carpenter, and I don't know if I missed the concert or if I can still watch it on there or if it happened yet. But
How does that work? Like
Yeah.
video games are so different
yeah,
than
it's
what
really weird. I don't know.
am
It's
used
like,
to.
yeah,
Super Nintendo.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
That is really cool. Like live concerts.
But it's like it's not live. It's
Ah.
because it's the character.
It's not her. Like, it's
Yeah.
an avatar of her.
Yeah.
We're too old, Tara.
It's I don't know.
Okay.
Ashley's younger than us.
Yes.
No, yeah, but
No,
I
she's
just-
not.
Mentally.
I'm younger than you mentally. And
Yes.
you were away for the weekend.
Oh yeah, I was in New Brunswick for a baton competition.
Awesome.
That was it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I don't do baton. I don't.
She was Ashley was
Just in case
batoning.
you're curious.
It wasn't you competing?
Show us your routine.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's funny. Tara, what about you? What did you get up to?
My weekend was pretty busy. We had my daughter's birthday party on Saturday, but her actual birthday was Easter weekend, and we just couldn't fit like a party in.
Yeah.
And then the following weekend was my nephew's birthday, so now her birthday has been extending for the last 2 weeks.
Oh my god, does she like feel like it's still her birthday?
Yeah, so we got home and she was like still talking. I was like, your birthday is done. And next year it's one day, I don't care what day it is, one day, that's it, and that's it. Because it's just been like, 2 weeks of birthday. So we had that. My parents and my sister, brother-in-law, nephew were visiting from Cape Breton.
Nice.
So they were up and they went home today, so that was fun.
Did they stay at your place?
Yes.
Yes.
My sister, her...
Was one of your sisters away?
My other sister is in Mexico.
She's a big fan of the pod.
So, Victoria, you better have everyone in Mexico listening to this episode.
I want to see Mexico on our spread next week, okay?
Mexico, yes, Victoria. You
Actually,
can get us on the board with Mexico.
If she is listening, it'll probably come up that
What
she
is
downloads
happening
it there.
right now?
What?
Oh, no.
Oh, that looks good. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
that
trying to
does
make
look
mine.
really
I'm trying to make mine be really abstracty.
I love it, you guys. I want to do one of
think
these
that's fine.
after. And I did start watching 4 seasons on Netflix.
4 seasons.
It's a new show, limited series. Tina Fey and Steve Carell,
Oh.
among others, are in it. So it was. I've only watched 2.5 episodes. I fell asleep like through the second one, but
Yay.
I like it. It's good. What else did I do? Oh, I did not finish my book because I've been so busy.
the
my cannibal one.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to finish that this week. And I'm starting, I'm doing my master's and I'm starting my last 2 courses this week. So it's the first time I'll be taking 2 courses. I usually just take 1.
Yeah.
So again, with the like trying to do everything, but I just want to be done.
Yeah.
So taking those, and I've been running a lot. I'm doing the Blue Nose.
Oh, yay. What
Down here,
distance
but
are you doing?
I'm doing 10.
Yay. Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
That's the one. That's May 2-4 weekend?
That's, yep.
It's the long weekend in
Yes.
May. Yes. That's great.
So I'm very excited for that, but just
Awesome.
about it, yeah.
It's amazing. Okay, so I think we're actually done the craft.
We
So-
are.
Yeah, let's show them mine abstract flower art.
Beautiful. I
can see
love
the
the
little-
watercolors.
I love it too. I actually love watercolors. Look at it from the back.
Ooh,
I
actually,
like
back.
You guys can actually reverse your painting. It's
You
reversible.
can change it up.
Yes.
Mine needs a second
Hey.
coat, but it's not dry.
Oh my gosh,
yet.
I'm
wonder if
obsessed.
I don't know if anybody
So
can do
close.
I
that.
can't really see it. Sheila Bird. There, yes,
Oh, there
it looks
Yeah,
so
that's my
cool.
fingers.
Very beautiful.
poking through
Yes.
it, but
Yeah,
yeah,
awesome.
It
Love
needs
it.
a second coat.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Alrighty, so shall we adjourn for today?
Yeah.
And see everybody next week. I hope everybody has a great week. Enjoy the podcast on your drive to work. Think about
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
What you might want to hear on the podcast. Reach out to us. Find us on all your socials. We're there, okay? And we're happy to interact with you. Oh, and I have to give a special shout out to a friend of mine who wrote in to our Facebook page. Somebody who is still a close friend. I consider you still a close friend. Saying hello, but I haven't talked to her in so long. So we were roommates in university. And so awesome. So thanks everybody for listening. We really, really appreciate it. And we will see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye. Oh, do I gotta push the button?